Hey YouTube, Silver NW here. Hope everyone had a great New Year's. First off, I'd like to give a big thank you to all those who have subscribed and for all your comments so far. It does mean a lot, and I'm definitely excited to see where we can go from here and how we can grow together, become better investors and stackers. So speaking of New Year's, I'm not normally one to follow like a cliche trend of setting New Year's resolutions. But I would like to go over a few ideas today that I'm hoping will at least spark some discussions, get some ideas flowing, and help us all be better stackers in the end. So I will, I guess, make a pact with myself and you, not necessarily a resolution, to be open-minded. I think those of us who are open-minded are probably going to be the most successful with this. If you're stuck in your ways on anything, you're really limiting yourself. So I always try to be as open-minded as possible. I think it's a good idea to review your opposing viewpoints, review other people's videos and the way they do things, even if it's completely opposite of what you're doing, because you may end up at least taking just one nugget out of that you can use for yourself. So as a wise man once told me, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. So with all that being said, I'd like to bring up the topic today of free and under spot or cheaper silver. Share some thoughts and ideas around it that I have, some methods that I've successfully used to keep my overall cost per ounce down, as well as hear some of your ideas and methods. So got quite a few comments on my first video about that, and so here's what I do. I guess I will start out with one thing that I don't do or haven't started doing yet, and that is the higher premium stuff. And if you probably noticed in my first video, I don't have a lot of super high-end premium stuff like a lot of you may, with the exception of like one same-day deal that I once made, but I'll get into that a little bit later. I think the reason that I don't do this is because I guess I feel like there's a lot of variables and risk involved in it, and some factors that could make it pretty much futile in the future, depending on world events, etc. So I do have one example that I've thought of here, and that is if you were to pick up a couple tubes of 2015 pandas today that you're planning on flipping later, you would end up paying about $975 for 40 rounds of silver, $24.38 per round, $8.54 over spot per round. I won't really go into like how many additional grams you could get of silver for that, but I suppose 6 months from now you could sell them on eBay for $25 after you shell out your eBay fees and whatever, or if you find a dealer who is willing to pay you for them, great. But that's also assuming a couple things. One, that the spot price hasn't gone way down, and one other thing that I suppose could affect that's still out of your control is if series they end up blowing up the mint on something and making a bunch of them, which isn't super common, I suppose, but it could happen. Something that's out of your control. Another thing that could happen is if, like I was mentioning, manure hits the fan scenario. I don't really, and this is just my opinion, I don't really assume that anyone's really going to care about your 2015 Panda as opposed to your OPM round. I think silver is going to be silver at that point, especially if there's any sort of monetary value placed on it. But again, it's all just speculation. I don't like risk. That's why I'm not doing it yet. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on why I should. I do like seeing my stack grow though, so I don't know, I'm open-minded, but I might be a little bit more resistant on that idea than others. Big shout out and props to you guys who have done that. I know Raw Dog has done it several times, and I know Silverfish is doing it right now. He's holding a bunch of stuff that he plans on flipping later. You know, props to you guys. I'm not doing it yet, so love to hear your thoughts on that. So, but on the one deal that I have done involving numismatics, some of numismatic stuff that I brought up was I ended up getting over 2 ounces of free silver that day. The way it worked is I'm fortunate enough to live next to a pretty wealthy town. It's kind of the suburb area where I live right now. So I was sitting there thinking that a lot of the numismatic stuff, you know, dealers will offer you various amounts and it's a lot of opinion. There are the dealers out there who, you know, are trying to assume you're an idiot and they'll just give you spot. So obviously those ones are out, but figure, what do I got to lose? I'm going to make a few calls today and see if I can find anything that I can flip. So called up one place and they had about 12 10 ounce Series 1 Australian Lunar. They had snakes and monkeys. So I knew the monkeys were worth a little more than the snakes, even though they were newer. I think there were maybe fewer of them made or something. Pretty low mintage on the 10 ounce ones, and they also had some 1 ounce 2012 koalas. So I asked them how much they give me 1 year of the monkey and 5 koalas for, and got the price. Call up another place in the more wealthy town down the road and asked what they'd give me for them, and they were willing to offer me $40 more than what I would have to pay at this other store. So went down to the bake, got some cash out, made the deal, came back up to the store here by my house that I normally buy my stuff from. They have a really good price over spot, and ended up getting 2 rounds and Lucky and Liberty half free silver. So I'm not saying that that'll be possible for everyone. In fact, in most cases it probably won't. I'm not sure I'm going to do it again, just due to the fact that, you know, I don't imagine this place is going to want to buy a lot of the 10 ounce year of the monkeys. So I don't know, maybe I'll think about it. And yeah, I probably could have gotten a little more if I sold them on eBay, but again, I don't like risk. I don't like eBay commission fees. I don't like dealing with people complaining to eBay that they never received stuff and then I'm out like this really expensive piece. So, but that's another story for a different video. But anyway, so that's what I started out with. Another idea is recycling. How much aluminum do you throw away? It's definitely one way that I've gotten some free silver. Does take a little bit of effort, but it didn't come out of my bank account, so at least directly. By the time I started my stack, I had about 18 months worth of aluminum, and we don't even drink soda, but went down. Aluminum was 60 cents a pound. Got $29 that day from it, and went up to this shop again, and I got American Eagle and 5 silver dimes. Free silver. So, I'll say it again. Rather than methods, like specifically here, I think this is more of a mindset. So, like, ask yourself, how are some ways that you can leverage your everyday life into working for you instead of letting it work against you? There are things and ways that there's things you can do, ways you can think outside the box. So, another way I did this, and this one just kind of fell into my lap one day. It was a Saturday, not too long ago, and I was browsing through Facebook, which I normally end up feeling worse off by the time I'm done with that than when I start, because so much stupid garbage on Facebook. But one of my buddies had shared an ad about a coin bullion dealer in town here who was doing their very first auction ever, and It was, you could either go to the store or you could use their online version and just bid right from home. So my first thought was, hey, that's pretty cool. I can just stay at home. I don't got to drive around in the snow and you know, go there in person. Sit in my comfy chair. Then I got to thinking, I'm in the technical field. There's something is going to go wrong on this one. And so I went there. I'm like, no, I don't like risk. I'm going to go there. I went there. There were about 14 people that ended up showing up. And there were about 110 online. And so they were about 20 minutes late starting the auctions. We were all just standing around looking at what was coming up, etc. And we started off, and it went fine. I think there were a bunch of peace dollars or something that came up first, and online bidders ended up winning all those, and they paid way too much for them, in my opinion, but whatever. Second auction comes up, and bam, it broke. The online completely went down, and I basically lost about 90% of my competition in like 5 minutes. So they spent a bunch of time trying to get it working again, but it didn't work. So I went from about 125 people down to 14 sitting in the room. After 20 minutes or so, they decided to just continue the auction in-house. So I ended up getting 17 40% Kennedys for $34, $2 a piece. And the mount value on those was, I think, about 39-ish or so. A little over that, close to 40. So basically I got 3 40% Kennedy half dollars free silver. So luck, I would say no. I think what it was like thinking outside the box on it. Most of the people, you know, ended up completely missing out. They just decided to stay home and didn't show up, and I'm like, yeah, I figured something was going to go wrong, and you know, why take the chance? What do I have to lose by being there? Nothing. What do I have to lose by staying at home? There's quite a bit of risk in that, so I think it ended up working out for me. So I also met a guy there that told me about a new coin shop in town that I didn't know about yet, and I stopped by there the other day, and they actually sell constitutional stuff for less than what I've been paying for it. So did a little networking. So all that, this, I'll probably just talk about one more method / idea that I've used so far, and that is coin roll hunting. I don't know how many of you watched my last video, but that's what it was all about. And I haven't seen a lot of videos about this in this community, and frankly, it kind of surprises me. There are videos of people who do it, but I don't feel like a lot of us in this particular group are really doing it much, if at all. And I would ask you why. And in my last video, again, I pretty much sounded like a broken record, saying, what have you got to lose? I mean, it takes a little gas driving to the bank, sure, 45 minutes to sort through every coin one by one in a box of halves. If you find nothing, you wash your hands, take them back to the bank, and they deposit them. So, so far, I've gone through 4,000 half dollars. Sounds like a lot, but it doesn't really take that long. It's 4 boxes. And 12 rolls of nickels. And here's what I've gotten from it so far. I saw this in my last video still, but 14 40% Kennedys, 190% Kennedy, and I did nickels as well. 2 more nickels. Nickels are actually the pretty much the highest silver content over face of any other denomination. It's currently 1,766%, with dimes coming in at a far second 1,135%. So in other words, you have the most to gain by hunting nickels, because you only have to pay 5 cents for 88 cents worth of silver right now. So you might also think, people have been doing this for years. All the silver's gone. And that thought did cross my mind a time or two before I did it. But I was proven wrong on my very first coin roll I ever opened. And you'll see that in my last video. There are billions upon billions of coins floating around in the US. No way have they all been poked through already. I won't say free silver here, because the halves did cost me 50 cents each, and the nickels cost me 5 cents, but you get the idea. I also found a Roosevelt dime, 64, floating around. Actually, it's a 57, in my pocket change. So, yeah. It's the last guy I got to show here, but look through your coin jars, look through your pockets. If they're in rolls, then they're obviously in circulation. So I get them from the bank. So, and lastly, a little off topic, but one thing I would ask you for New Year's is, where are you buying from? Buying online from the online dealers, I think, is great. Especially if you're buying a lot at a time and you can average out the cost over spot per ounce for shipping. But I would challenge you not to make this your only option or method. If you are, you might be limiting yourself and not keeping your costs as low as you could be. Don't always assume the guy at the coin shop is going to charge more. The place I buy from charges a flat $150 over spot for rounds. I think that's pretty good, considering he's already taken the risk for shipping. He's already waited for that shipping. He's got to keep his lights on. And he doesn't even get to set the price for his own products he's selling. And lastly, perhaps the most important, you're supporting local business in most cases. Someone who you could build a solid relationship with. If you find the right store, of course. Not all places are alike at all. Things like, I was down at the store the other day and I was $1 short to get one more round, and the guy's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Just get me back next time." So it's that type of relationship you can build with these guys. So after a little math, the total amount of free silver I've obtained, and that is taking out the cost of what I've paid for the coin roll hunting coins face value, $115.90, a little over 6% of what I've paid in dollars out of my 107 ounces so far on my stack. So just creative, out of the box thinking. $115 that I didn't have to pay, that I get to add to my stack. So alright guys, again, get creative, think outside the box, use these ideas and lines of thought to benefit from them if you choose to do so. And I'll just leave you with one request. What are some of the ways you've gotten good deals or free silver? What are your thoughts? How are you already thinking outside the box and found it to be of benefit? I believe definitely we can all learn, we can share, grow together. So game on. Who's next? Comment below.